All right, yesterday or the other day, we completed our deck for our skateboard. The next thing we're going to do are our trucks, right? The trucks are the um, thing that the wheels slide on and then it gets attached to the board with some hardware. And this one's a pretty tricky part, but once you see how it's completed, it gets a little bit easier. First thing we need to do is take a look at our riser pad here. And this is what is bolted to the board, and a couple different measurements here that we're going to need. And that is the overall rectangle here is 2 inches by 1 3/4. It has a fillet on it that gives a radius of 0.25, and then uh, there are 0.188 or 3/16 of an inch holes that go through it, and they are within a rectangle that is 1 inch by 1.375. So we actually have two different measurements here that we'll need to create. So everything's based off of the origin point. So that means that we're going to get started doing pretty much the same thing. So once you are ready, you're going to go ahead and hit Create Part Studio, and we're going to name it, our new Part Studio here, Trucks. Right? Now obviously I have two, but that's okay. I'm going to grab my sketch and create a new sketch on the top plane, rotate my view, and instead of a corner rectangle, I'll grab a center point rectangle, click and drag out, and I said that that rectangle needs to be 1.375 by 1, and that's going to give us where to place our holes. 1.375 by 1, and we could have made that a construction rectangle, but that's okay. We're going to grab our circles and then on our circle tool rather, and we're going to make that 3/16 on all four corners. All right, so we just use that to position our holes. That's the only reason we did that. So now I can make my outer rectangle, which is 1.75 by 2. So center rectangle, center point rectangle, that's 1.2 this direction and 1.75 this direction. And I can hit the, oh no, don't hit the check mark yet. We got a fillet, of course. So we're going to grab the sketch fillet and click on each of those corners, and you can just leave the radius at 0.25 because that is already correct, right? So that's going to create our riser pad, and we can actually extrude that, which for this one, it's extruded 0.25, right? So just like that, we're going to extrude that out 0.25. All right, so there's our riser pad. Next thing we need to do is add the actual profile of the trucks themselves. So it looks like our position here is from the right side, and let's go into Sketch 2 and check out what we got. So we got a few things going on here. Number one being that we got a construction line, which means it's a symmetric part. So this is obviously mirrored. So we draw half of it, use this construction line to help us, and then we can just mirror it to the other side. So what we need to do is draw a construction line, place our 0.25 of an inch from our construction line and on that origin, or on the top of that riser pad rather. And then we're going to place a point up here that is 2 inches by 2 inches away, and then we'll be able to create this arc that runs to it. All right, So let's jump over to this one. So I'm going to start my sketch on the right plane, and I'm going to use, so this use project convert, I'm going to use this part of the riser pad to project onto here so that I know I'm drawing on the top of my part, right? And I'm going to grab my line tool, change it to a construction line, and I'm just going to draw a line up. Doesn't matter how tall it is. We're just going to use that as our mirror line anyway. And I'm going to draw a line over right here. That is 0.25. So I clicked right at the top here, drew a line over 0.25. Next thing I need to do is grab the point, and I'm just going to place it over here literally anywhere. And I'm going to grab my dimension tool, and I'm going to position this point from the center. Well, let's take a look at it. How was it on here? 2 inches from the origin point and 2 inches from the top of this riser. So important information there because that's two different. So we'll go from here to here is 2 inches, and from here to the top of this riser is 2 inches, right? So 2 inches from the origin, 2 inches from the top of the riser, which means that our overall height here is looking like it's 0.25 plus 2, 2 1/4 so far once we get to this section, right? So in order to make this arc, right, it says RHO is 0.5, right? We have a couple different options here, and the conic might be our solution. So let's see. We're going to click down on the arc, click conic, go to our point, and we're going to move it so that it locks in place just like that. See the dotted lines in a 90-degree angle? That'll bring it up in a 0.5 and hit enter. All right, and that'll give you the arc that you need. All right, and next thing we need to do is draw a line up that's 0.5 and then bring it across that meets in the middle so that we have a nice symmetrical part that we can mirror. So I'll grab my line tool, click on my point, and bring it up 0.5. Bring it over straight across. So if your construction line is there, make sure you're not connecting it because that's not straight across. Right. So we want to make sure that this is parallel. See that parallel constraint. All right. We're going to mirror this. So grab the mirror tool, select your mirror line, which is that construction line. We're going to mirror that, our arc. And there we go, right? So now whenever we extrude this, we're going to do something different than we have. All right, if we extrude it one direction, it goes towards the front or back. But if you look at the finished truck, it looks like it's dead center, right? So if we take a look at our extrude options here, it's extruded 0.75, but it's also extruded symmetrically, right? So we want to change our settings here from blind to symmetric, and instead of 1 inch, we want 0.75, and hit enter. So I'll hit the green check, and we're getting there, right? It looks kind of blocky, but we're not going to fillet our edges just yet, and that's because we need to add where our axles will go, right? These items right here, and that's where we attach the wheels. So those axles are 0.25 in diameter. Don't know why there's two of them. 0.25 in diameter, and they are in the center of this rectangle, right? And we can use You can do it with dimensions, or we can use the center points from both. So we're going to start a sketch and click on that rectangle of the truck because we want to start a sketch on this profile. We're going to grab our center point circle. We're going to find our center point on either this side or this side and bring our mouse over. You see how it has that dotted yellow line? If we move our mouse down and grab that one too and bring it up, you can meet in the center of those two. It'll place it perfectly in the center. It's just a quick way. I mean, you could do it with dimensions, but you don't have to. All right, so we're going to make that 0.25 and hit the check. We're going to extrude that out. And how far are we extruding that? We're going to take a look here, 1.25 inches. So by default, it's 1. We're just going to make it 1.25. Hit the check. All right. We're going to do the same thing on the opposite side. Start a new sketch. You could mirror it. You want to make sure you grab the two center points from the left side and the bottom side. 0.25 and extrude it. Whoops, not a sketch. Extrude it 1.25. Right. Again, you could mirror those, but for as fast as you could just do the sketch, it doesn't really matter. You can just do it. Right. So the last thing we need to do is make this look less blocky, and we can do that by grabbing the fillet tool and just clicking on every profile here. So whenever you select those three, doesn't want to work. How come? Let's see. What did we select here? It worked on that one. Why didn't it work on this one? So fillet, select that. It doesn't want to fillet. There we go. Just got to select another one and then the top and it fillets. Okay, so you just have to select every profile and then it snaps in. I don't know why it didn't work before, right? So once every profile is selected, you can hit the check mark, and just like that, you have the entire thing filleted, and it looks more realistic, like a normal truck. The only thing that we're missing are the threads at the end of this, which we're going to place through the wheel, and then we can throw a nut on the end to simulate that. We're not going to get into threads just yet. We're going to wait until we're a little bit more advanced. All right, then you can change the color so that whenever we assemble it, your trucks will be a different color. So traditionally trucks are usually like a metal, bare metal look, but they do come painted. And then you just want to change your part down here. You want to name it trucks. Right? And that's it. You're ready to move on to the wheels starting tomorrow. Good luck. If you need any help, make sure you let me know.